we're going to be talking about the equations of parallel and perpendicular lines and what they look like. So as far as our parallel, do you guys want me to turn the light off? Okay. Doesn't matter. Yes, no? Better? Okay. All right, so parallel and perpendicular equations. We're going to be looking at the slopes. Remember, thinking back to algebra, we have slope-intercept form. Okay, there we go. Slope-intercept form. And that's y equals mx plus b. Okay? So if you guys remember that, hopefully you do, because that was like pretty much all of Algebra 1, right? So the m is your slope, so this is specifically what we're talking about today. In relation to your parallel lines, okay, you're going to remember that they go in the exact same direction and they are never going to intersect. And that is your first blank that you fill out. So parallel lines never intersect. Okay? When you're looking at your slopes of parallel lines, what do you guys notice right here that we highlighted? So we have y equals negative 2x minus 2, and then y equals negative 2x plus 3. What can you tell me about that highlighted part? In the chat or out loud. All right, so parallel lines, the same. Okay? Anytime your slope is the same, that means it's not going to intersect. Okay? Because if you notice here, negative 2x and negative 2x, and these lines are parallel. Think of railroad tracks. They never cross. Okay? So, with that being said, that is how parallel lines kind of look slope-wise. Right? Moving on to our perpendicular. So we're going to have these two lines that cross, right? They make an X, kind of. All right, perpendicular lines are going to intersect to form right angles. Okay. Remember, right angles are 90-degree angles. Okay. So, if we're looking at our number or our slope for perpendicular lines, we have 1/2 and negative 2. Does anybody remember kind of what we learned about as far as the slope goes, what we called that? Does the term opposite reciprocal ring a bell? Maybe? So if we have 1/2 and negative 2, okay, so these are opposite in terms of one is positive and one is negative, so opposite sign. And then reciprocal is where you flip your fraction. Okay, so it's flipped upside down. Additionally, perpendicular lines have a product of -1. Okay? What that means, we can multiply our slopes together to give us -1. So if we multiply straight across, we get -2 over 2 equals -1. Okay? But as far as terminology goes, the important thing you know is that perpendicular lines have an opposite reciprocal slope. Okay? All right, moving on. Now we're just going to compare the two. All right? So we're going to start with the second little note right here first. So all horizontal lines, remember horizontal goes left to right. Horizontal lines are going to be parallel to each other. They are also parallel to the x-axis, okay? Horizontal lines have a slope of 0. Okay? The reason they have a slope of 0 is because, remember, slope is rise over run. With horizontal lines, we're not rising at all, but we are running. Okay? Some sort of number. So the reason our slope stays 0, anytime you divide 0 by a number, you just get 0. So remember, horizontal has a slope of 0. As far as vertical lines, remember that's the one that goes up and down. Vertical lines are going to be parallel to each other. They are also parallel to the y-axis. Okay? Y is the one that runs up and down. Your slope for a vertical line is undefined. Did anybody ever learn about slope dude in algebra? No? Okay. I'll have to share that video. So, undefined. The reason is you're going to be rising and running. You're going to be rising and falling, but we're not going to be running. We can't divide by 0. Cannot divide by 0. So that's why it's undefined. All right? And then last, but certainly not least, our last comparison. All right? All horizontal and vertical lines are perpendicular to each other. So anytime you have a horizontal and a vertical line, they are perpendicular. That being said, our x and y axis are perpendicular to each other. Okay?